guys, let's take a look at exercise 1P. Now, question 1 has several parts, but it wants us to convert 2.36 square meters to square centimeters. Now, I'm going to work this one out long ways, and then we'll do the rest a little bit shorter so you can see how we do this. Now, if you remember from 1.0, we wrote out the conversion factors. So I know that 1 centimeter is equal to 1 meter times 10 to the negative 2. But I don't have centimeters, I have meters. So if I divide both sides by the conversion factor, I will end up with 1 meter being equal to 1 centimeter times 10 squared. But I don't just have meters, I have meters squared. So a square meter means that I'm going to square everything over here. So 1 square meter is equal to 1 square centimeter times 10 to the 4th. Because that squared distributes to the centimeter and to the 10 squared. So then, if I have 2.36 square meters, that means I have 2.36 square centimeters times 10 to the 4th. And if I multiply that out, I have 23,600 square centimeters. All right, so a little bit more streamlined, let's look at B. I need to turn 1.5 decimeters squared to decameters squared. Now, I know that a decimeter is times 10 to the negative 1, and a decameter is times 10 to the 1. So my difference is 10 squared. So a decimeter is equal to 1 decameter times 10 to the negative 2, which means that a square decimeter is equal to a square decameter times 10 to the negative 4, because I square both. All right, so 1.5 decimeters squared then equals 1.5 decameters squared times 10 to the negative 4. And if I multiply that out, I find that I have 0.00015 decameters squared. Part C, I have 5,400 square millimeters. And I want to convert those to square centimeters. Well, I know that my 5,400 square millimeters, if I was just dealing with millimeters to centimeters, then I would be the difference with millimeters being 10 to the negative 3 and centimeters being 10 to the negative 2. My difference is 10 to the 1. So, because I'm going from small to big, it would be centimeters squared times 10 to the negative 1. However, because I've squared everything, it's times 10 to the negative 2, which then gives me 54 square centimeters. Part D. 0.06 meters squared, 2 millimeters squared. Now, I know that 1 meter is 10 to the 3rd millimeters, but this is being squared, so it's actually going to be 10 to the 6th. 0.06 meters squared is equal to 0.06 millimeters squared times 10 to the 6th. And if we multiply that out, we will get 60,000 square millimeters. Part E, I want to convert 0.8 square kilometers to hectometers squared. All right, so with this one, I know that kilometers, or kilo, is 10 cubed, and hecto is 10 squared, so it's a difference of 10 to the 1. But 10 to the 1 squared is 10 squared. So that is 0.8 square kilometers equaling 0.8 square hectometers times 10 squared. Therefore, I have 80 square hectometers. Last part of question 1, part F. I am being asked to take 35,000 square meters and convert them to square kilometers. So, because 1 kilometer is 1 meter times 10 to the 3rd, 1 meter is 1 kilometer times 10 to the negative 3rd. However, because we are in fact squaring this, instead of to the 3rd, it'll be to the 6th. So 35,000 square meters equals 35,000 square kilometers times 10 to the negative 6. And that is going to give us 0.035 square kilometers. With question 2, 3, and 4, we're going to be following the same method. All right. 5 meters cubed to centimeters cubed. So I know that that is going to be 5 centimeters cubed. Now, here's where I've got to kind of think about the math behind it. I know that to move from a meter to a centimeter is 10 squared, but I need to cube that, so that becomes times 10 to the 6th. And since I want to leave this in the form a times 10 to the k, then I'm simply going to write 5 times 10 to the 6th centimeters cubed. Part B, I have 0.1 cubic decameters, and I want to convert that to cubic meters. Well, right now, I have, let me let that focus. There we go. I have decameters, and that is 10 to the 1, but it's being cubed, so I'm going to be multiplying by 10 cubed. So, that is meters cubed times 10 to the 3rd, which would give me 1 times 10 squared meters cubed. And the reason that becomes squared is because I use one of these 10s to move the decimal point. All right, part C. I have 3,500,000 millimeters cubed to decimeters cubed. So moving from millimeters to decimeters, millimeters is 10 to the negative 3, decimeters is 10 to the negative 1, so there's a difference of 10 squared. But this is being cubed, so that difference becomes 10 to the 6th. So that is going to be equals 3,500,000 decimeters squared times 10 to the negative 6. And that is going to give me, excuse me, 3.5. But I can't just leave it at 3.5 because I want it in the a times 10 to the k, so that's fine. I'll multiply by 10 to the 0 decimeters cubed. And I squared this one earlier. That should have been cubed. All right. Let's look at D. For D, I'm changing 255 meters cubed to millimeters cubed. All right. So, I know that meters to millimeters is 10 to the 3rd. But I'm cubing, so it's going to be 10 to the 9th. (255 millimeters times 10 to the 9th, that's millimeters cubed. Now, here, I need to write this with A times 10 to the K. A needs to be between 1 and 10. So I'm actually going to move the decimal point between the 2 and the 5. 2.55 times 10. Instead of the 9 now, because I've moved it 2 more, it's 10 to the 11th millimeters cubed. All right, E. E says 12,000 meters cubed to decameters cubed. All right, well, I know that a decameter is 10 to the 1 meters. So moving from meters to decameters would give me 10 to the negative 1. But it's cubed, so it's 10 to the negative 3. All right, so that's going to make it 12, or 1.2 times 10 to the 1 decameters cubed. Last one for number 2 is F. And here I've got 0.7802 hectometers cubed to decameters cubed. So hectometers is 10 squared. Decameters is 10 to the 1. So that's a difference of 10 to the 1. But because I'm cubing, it'll be a difference of 10 cubed. So 0.7802 hectometers cubed is equal to 0.7802 decameters cubed times 10 to the 3rd, which means that I'm just going to move this one place so that my A has the correct value. And that's going to be times 10 squared decameters cubed. All right. Number 3A. I have a side length of a square that is 13 centimeters, and I want to find its area in centimeters squared. Well, that's going to be 13 times 13, which is 169 centimeters squared. And now I need to convert that to meters. Well, typically, the centimeter to meter conversion is 10 squared, or 10 to the negative 2. So here, because it's being squared, I'll be multiplying by 10 to the negative 4. (169 meters squared times 10 to the negative 4, which gives me 0.0169 meters squared. And that is part B. Number 4, part A. I have the length of a cube that is 0.85 meters, and I'm looking for volume. So that's length times width times height. And that gives me a volume of 0.614 meters cubed. Now, I need to convert that to centimeters cubed. Well, I know that 1 meter cubed is equal to, well, 1 meter is 10 squared centimeters. So if I am cubing that, centimeters cubed times 10 to the 6th. So then, I am going to be saying 0.614 meters cubed equals 0.614 centimeters cubed times 10 to the 6th, which gives me 614,000 centimeters cubed. All right. Great job, guys. See you next time.